Welcome to another edition of Papa's Perspective. I'm Bob Papa, brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store and a mattress partner of the New York Giants. And it's with great pleasure we welcome in the Giants' third-round draft pick in 1991. Ed McCaffrey joins us here on Papa's Perspective. And Ed, time goes by when you're having fun. What was it like when you found out as a player at Stanford that you were going to the defending Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, first off, Bob, thanks for having me on the show. I learned something new already. I didn't know you owned a furniture store, but I think that's incredible. I don't know how you have time to run a business with your busy schedule. But I'll break down draft day for me. Okay, if you can picture 1991, so most of our listeners can picture 1991, but some of them might be too young to remember, so they might have watched the movie Napoleon Dynamite. Picture me in an off-campus house, sitting by a rotary phone. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's the one with the really long cord that Napoleon stretched 2 rooms over while he sat on the couch and talked to people on the phone. That was me. Rotary phone, off-campus house that I shared with like 12 roommates. And, a couple of my buddies kept calling throughout the day, which was really annoying because I'm thinking that's my call. And it's my buddies asking if I've been drafted yet. Back then, they only drafted 3 rounds on day one. Or I should say they drafted 3 rounds on day one. Today they do 1 round. And only 2 of them were televised. And I was the last pick of the 3rd round. So I'm sitting around waiting all day. They stopped the television feed. And I'm just waiting around for a phone call, not knowing if I'm going to get the phone call, not even knowing at what point of the draft we were in. And so, my girlfriend at the time and future wife, Lisa, and I were just hanging out at the house. We, walked down to Molly Stone Market and grabbed some lunch. And sure enough, right as I was starting to give up hope that I'd be drafted on day one, I got the call from Bill Parcells. And, it wasn't exactly the red carpet treatment. It's like, hey, Ed, we drafted you in the 3rd round with the last pick, very matter of fact. We have mini camps on these days. Look forward to see you at mini camp. And that was it. There were not a lot of bells and whistles. I was excited because, as we all know, the New York Football Giants won the Super Bowl a year before. So I was getting drafted to play for a team that had just won a Super Bowl. As a receiver, kind of looked at the stat line and saw that the leading wide receivers had 26 catches the year before on the season. That might be a shock to some of you, right? But that wasn't in one game. That wasn't, over a couple of games. That was on the year. But they did win the Super Bowl, and I was excited to go to New York, and I was excited to play for a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too because you get drafted by Parcells and then he resigns like during your mini camp. So that was just sort of a bizarre transition into the National Football League, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Went to high school there, so I get the whole New York attitude, and I get guys like Bill Parcells. I get coaches like him, right? He's very matter of fact. He's got a certain personality. He can be edgy. He didn't really roll out the red carpet for us during that first mini camp either. He said, "Hey, look, we're really glad that all you guys are here. We're really glad that you're going to compete for a chance to make the team. Obviously, we just won the Super Bowl, so we don't need any of you. But hopefully some of you can help us become a little bit better this season." And then a couple of months later, he stepped down. The news at the time was that he had a heart issue, so we were all hoping that he was doing well. Obviously, we know he came back and coached later for the New York Jets, who he, as the Denver Broncos, beat in the AFC Championship game. I don't mind adding, but I was kind of looking forward to playing for him, to tell you the truth. He'd won a couple Super Bowls. He was a legendary coach already, and I kind of liked his attitude. I kind of liked his edge and his honesty, and that he didn't hold anything back. So a missed opportunity to play for a legendary coach, but I still had some pretty great teammates and great coaches, and had a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean, you could say you played with Lawrence Taylor. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, well, no matter of fact, I'll share this story. So I held out for like 8 days, which was frowned upon back in the day. But I did. And, training camp was in Fairleigh Dickinson at Fairleigh Dickinson University. And my first day of practice, when I finally signed my contract, back in the day, you signed the contract, get out to practice. So I had signed right before the morning and afternoon practice. We had double days at Fairleigh Dickinson. They had a makeshift locker room made out of wooden lockers in the auxiliary basketball gym. So I walked through the locker room, and I look for my locker, and of course, in the white athletic tape with the Sharpie, my name was written above my locker, and it was spelled incorrectly, of course. They went with ERY instead of REY. So again, I'm like, wow, they don't even know how to spell my name. This is crazy. It's in the program. But my locker was situated right between Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks. Well, I know, both of those guys pretty well. And I haven't met either one of these guys yet. I know they're legendary linebackers for the Giants. They were veterans at that point in their careers. LT's story preceded him. Right? Everybody knew about LT on and off the field. So I sit down and LT talks across me. I haven't met either one of them yet. There was no formal introduction to my teammates. I'm just on the team, get to practice. And he's talking to Carl across me. I'm in the middle of both these guys. And for those who don't know, these guys are like 6'5", 250 pounds. Yeah, they're big dudes and they're all pro linebackers and they've won a couple Super Bowls. And again, their reputation precedes them. And LT goes, "Hey, man, I'm missing a cleat, man. You see my cleat?" And Carl's like, "No, I think this dude took it." And they both stand up as I'm sitting in my locker. And it was intimidating to say the least. And I'm thinking, okay, this might be my last day of practice with the New York Giants on my first day of practice with the New York Giants. But then LT slapped me on the back and said, "Oh, man, we're just messing with you." And we all walk out to practice. But for a split second, I thought, wow, what a way to be introduced to the NFL, having LT and Carl Banks stand up and throw down in the locker room on my first day of practice.
And after you left the Giants, you went to San Francisco. You won a Super Bowl with the Niners. And then, of course, you won those back-to-back Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos and had an incredible career. But you've also had an incredible life after football. Not only raising your children, but you were involved in broadcasting. You coached on the high school level. You coached on the collegiate level. But you also have this family business, and I see the product is behind you, McCaffrey brand foods. You got the mustards. Now you have the McCaffrey protein bites that are wildly successful. Talk about this venture into this other business of and just reading the website, how it really has become a family affair.
And I definitely want to talk about that. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't thank all of the New York Football Giants fans, because I know you get a lot of fans that watch the show, who have always supported me throughout my entire career. Because it wasn't everybody, but there's a lot of diehard Giants fans who really gave me a lot of support even after I left the team. So thank you. And I dug this out. I have to show it to you. I dug this out. People barely remember my career with the New York Football Giants, but this is the Rookie of the Year award that was handed out at the big banquet they had before the next season.
Oh, yeah.
I have the trophy to prove it. And then I did lead the team my second year in New York. So those are some forgotten years because Bill Parcells retired and, the veteran players like LT retired and Carl Banks went on to play for another team. And Phil Simms and Hostetler all started leaving. So they're kind of the forgotten years. But I did have a wonderful time there and had incredible support from the New York Football Giants fan base and had some amazing teammates, many Hall of Famers. So good memories there. But yeah, then, after that, I decided to go to a team I thought had a chance to win a Super Bowl. That was my criteria. It wasn't number of catches or anything else. So I picked the 49ers. Thank goodness I worked my tail off and made the team. We won a Super Bowl, and then within 5 years, we won two more. So 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. It was a pretty good run. And I found a home in Denver with the Broncos. And while we were winning Super Bowls, I did come out with some food products. You know how athletes will do, right? McCaffrey's Rocky Mountain Mustard. This is the OG, our spicy brown product. And remember when I was talking about Molly Stone's Market at Stanford while Lisa and I were grabbing lunch while I was waiting to get drafted? We used to go there like every day. And I was, weight was always an issue for me. I had to be healthy. I was obviously playing college sports, wanted to be a pro athlete, and I gain weight really easily. So mustard is naturally healthy and adds a ton of flavor to food. So we have turkey, lettuce, tomato, onion on what was a Dutch crunch roll. You may be familiar with that roll. Every day for lunch. And so, spicy brown mustard added a lot of flavor. So a guy approached me about creating a cereal at first, and we did Ed's Ends O No's, which was pretty cool. It was like me jumping through a frosted Cheerio. And just like Flutie Flakes or Elway Crunch or some of those other cereal products, it lasted for a couple of years while we were winning Super Bowls. Then we did Eddie Mac and Cheese, and we did some other food products. But my day job was playing football, so it wasn't my business. I was lending my name and likeness to a food product. I picked the food products out, especially the mustard, because that was one I wouldn't have thought of. Business partner asked, what are the foods that I eat every day? And I'm like, look, I'm really regimented. I eat super healthy. The one thing I put on almost all my food is spicy brown mustard, thinking that he would not want to run with that one, right? Cereal is the sexy food product. It's not mustard. And I said, I only put my name on it if it's the best in the world. So he said, well, let me go to work and investigated and researched a lot of different manufacturers. So we found out with it. So we found an incredible manufacturer we still work with today. These guys are the best. And they created, about 100 different flavor profiles and iterations of spicy brown mustard. I personally taste tested all of them. I like to think of myself as a super taster. I like food and have very powerful and accurate taste buds, in my opinion. And so obviously I think it's the best in the world because I'm the one who sampled 100 different flavor profiles until I picked the one I liked the best. And I kind of fell in love with spicy brown mustard, even going back to high school in Allentown, Pennsylvania, dipping soft pretzels at the Allentown Fair in the spicy brown mustard and eating them. And then, it was a healthy condiment. So he decided to go with it. And that's what really started our mustard and, horseradish
You got them all.
business. And then we've expanded to beer mustard. We have smoky horseradish. We have sriracha and chipotle. We're coming out with the chicken dipping sauce this year and a whole lot of other products. And our whole business is simply make good food taste better. Look, a lot of people want to eat good foods. They want to eat healthy foods. They want to try to be healthy, but they don't want to sacrifice taste. That's what we do. Make good food taste better. It's not a crazy business. We go to the lab and create a bunch of different recipes until we come up with the flavors that we like the best. We try them out on the public and kind of source them to see if people like them. And then we give people what they want, great tasting condiments to make the food taste better. Now, when we got into our protein snack business, this was a different category. Got the picture of the family on the back, Lisa and I, and then Max, Christian, Dylan, and Luke. We're a family of athletes and we love good food, especially when you're playing on your off day, right? But you got to eat healthy throughout the week and throughout your career as a pro athlete, or just somebody who wants to stay in shape, right? And so we wanted to come up with a, a food product that wasn't causing allergies or food intolerances, especially with younger athletes. So many athletes have gluten and peanut allergies and all kinds of different food allergies. So it's gluten-free, non-GMO, plant-based protein. So it's high in protein, super healthy, low calorie. And it can be eaten as a snack. It can be eaten as a halftime snack, pre-game, post-game, in your car, picking up carpool at work during a podcast. And so the challenge with creating a healthy food product that's high in protein is getting it to taste good. We all know that. We've all bitten into a protein bar that tastes menacing or chalky or bitter. And so for 3 years, we really couldn't come up with something that I would put our name on. And finally, we found an incredible manufacturer who could create a food product that I thought tasted great. And I haven't met anyone that doesn't think it tastes great. Everyone seems to really love it. So we have flavor profiles that I think people like: chocolate chip cookie dough, fudge brownie, birthday cake. We're going to expand into some other lines that we have. I don't want to announce them until they're out, but it's really been a fast growing category for us. And look, everybody eats. So instead of, making good food taste better, it's make healthy food taste great. So that's our goal with our healthy snack line. It's make healthy food taste great. And it's hard to do. It's harder to do than you think, but we think we have a winner.
So, Ed, in the final question here, obviously an accomplished athlete. What lessons did you learn playing football that you now apply to your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, when you're a little kid, you play just because you want to have fun. I still think you want to have fun running a business. But you learn things playing the sport of football that you're not thinking about when you're younger. You're learning about teamwork and hard work and communication and really working together with people from all walks of life to be part of something bigger than yourself. And that's what running a business is, right? I can't do this by myself. I work with 50 to 60 different people, probably 15 to 20 on our team, and then other partners that we work with in the industry. And so to the extent that I can fulfill my duties as, founder and CEO or head coach, I have to surround myself with really talented, hardworking people with integrity. help get them on the bus, put them in the right seats, and then keep them on the bus as long as possible, working towards our goals of making good food taste great and good food taste better and healthy food taste great. And so it's really just like football, your ability to communicate, inspire, and work with other people and find a way to put them in a position to utilize their skill sets to the best of their abilities.
Ed, we appreciate a couple minutes joining us here on Papa's Perspective. Thank you so much for sharing your time, and we wish you the best of luck with the product.
Thank you, Bob.
That's this edition of Papa's Perspective, brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store and a mattress partner of the New York Giants.